Arrests made in connection with a stabbing at a local establishment, plus summer events get the nod. Details from this morning's Licensing Authority hearing on this episode of Barnstable Today. It's Monday, June 23rd, 2014. I'm Sarah Colvin. The Cape Cod RTA is now in charge of the summer trolleys in downtown Hyannis and Falmouth. This afternoon, a ceremony was held at the Hyannis Transportation Center announcing the RTA would assume operations of the trolleys. For the past several years, management of the free trolley service has been outsourced. The Falmouth Whoosh trolley runs from 9:45 a.m. to 10:10 p.m. The Hyannis trolley runs from 10:30 a.m. to 9 p.m. Both trolleys are free of charge. The annual Grecian Festival will take place next month in Centerville. This morning, festival organizers were before the Licensing Authority
for an application for the 3 days. It's a free admission. A couple of new things. We have free shuttle service this year, and I think we're in good shape with all the permits that are required for. It's kind of a big event with a lot of activities.
Are these the same hours that we've always had for the 3 days?
Yes, they are.
And you mentioned a shuttle service. Where would the off-site parking be?
The off-site parking is at the Barnstable Intermediate School, and we'll be running a shuttle to and from the church location with 2 10-passenger vans, which were donated by Capabilities.
And you're going to have the usual fine food.
Very good food. We've been cooking for months.
What's Anthony been doing?
We're also
Trouble.
We're also going to have a police duty on duty, and also security.
The license for the 3-day festival was approved. Next, Hyannis 4th of July parade organizer Megan Kenny was before the board requesting a license for a trackless train that'll operate on the village green.
This is something new then.
Yeah, I heard about him through the Hyannis Main Street bid, and it's basically a trackless train. He goes all over New England. It's kind of, he described it like a ride-on mower engine. So think of that weight. It can turn on a dime, so it's a trackless train. And we were hoping to have, I'm the chair of the parade, so I was hoping to have him in the parade, and then, well, we thought he was here. He comes from Connecticut, that he could have entertainment on the village green at the bottom of the green, so right in front of Town Hall, while we have our free concert.
That application was approved. The 4th of July Parade Committee is seeking parade participants. If you'd like to march in the parade or even create a float, visit the Town of Barnstable's website to learn more. Lieutenant John Murphy reported to the Licensing Authority this morning that arrests have been made in connection with a stabbing earlier this year at the Quarterdeck Lounge in Hyannis. Murphy expressed concerns with groups congregating in certain areas across town and efforts police are undertaking to quell any issues.
I'd just like to point out to the board, you've probably read about it or heard about it in the media, that the police department's made 2, in my opinion, significant arrests relating to the Quarterdeck stabbing that happened back in April 23rd of 2014. It took a little bit of time for the police department to effect those arrests, but I think that was more part of making sure a thorough investigation was done, and I expect more arrests to come forward from it. From the news media accounts that portrayed it quite accurately, it was a mob attack on this victim in which she was assaulted by multiple individuals with knives, fists, and feet. The most concerning part to the police department, I want to bring it to the board's attention, in that it's an issue we're going to be focused on going forward. Several of the people, including the 2 that were arrested to date, are basically banned from almost every licensed liquor establishment on Main Street, Hyannis. However, they've chose a different venue off Main Street to go to now. So that's causing us some concern in highlighting what you've brought forward in the show cause hearings to these folks that didn't come to the mandatory meeting for the educational point of it. This group involved in this mob assault has has been basically trespassed from a lot of the places on Main Street, but now have taken their business elsewhere. And I think it's important for these meetings that these people that run these places that are not in Main Street but are in the town of Barnstable will be aware that the police department has this group, and it is a problem. The second issue I'd like to bring before the board is the rear parking lot behind 586. It's the town municipal lot there with the old Social Security building, and we're having problems there at closing time with groups that are, for lack of a better word, not allowed in bars, trespass from bars in Main Street, that are congregating there at closing time and causing problems, getting in fights. And a lot of it splashes back to 586, but 586, I want to point out to the board, is doing their best as far as clearing the crowds out, keeping the problem patrons out of their establishment. So I don't want to. We've made a couple of arrests the past couple of weekends for disorderly conducts and assaults in that back lot. And if the board has become aware of that through the grapevine, it is not attributed to 586. It's attributed to the people that are congregating in that parking lot that have no reason to be there other than to just hang out. And it's one of the issues we're going to be looking to address going forward into the summer
Director
season.
of Regulatory Services Richard Scally addressed concerns regarding the legality of banning certain patrons from establishments.
I didn't mean to tell you this, Lieutenant, but it just happened on late last week. A gentleman who has been banned from a number of establishments came into our office questioning whether establishments could ban him. And I guess a couple of the establishments have taken to putting signs in their window that say we reserve the right to refuse service to people. And I guess people were asking, is that something they can legally do? And I know that we've had our licensee meetings. Officer Marr has stressed that they can do that and have a right to ban people who are problems on the street. So
As long as they're not banning entry based on race, creed, color, religion, or sexual preference, then they can serve who they choose and serve not who they choose. And I think it's an effective program, and it's an educational issue. And again, I'm beating a dead horse here, but that's another reason why we want these people to show up at these mandatory meetings and to form a collaborative. We're in the process right now, the police department and several businesses on Main Street, I think it's probably close to 25, looking at an individual who was recently indicted in Barnstable Superior Court for a serious assault at a licensed liquor establishment, and they're looking to maybe trespass him. So the program's working, it's moving forward, but just the parking lot issues and the groups taking their business elsewhere is a problem, but at least we're addressing it.
Police continue to work with local establishments in order to ensure a safe environment for all. A traffic advisory for Barnstable Village tomorrow. The Department of Public Works will be repaving 2 crosswalks on Route 6A in Barnstable Village in front of the Barnstable County Superior Courthouse. Work will take place tomorrow and will be complete by the end of the day, weather permitting. The rain date, Wednesday, June 25th. Vehicle access during the paving operations will be restricted to 1 lane. Motorists are advised to seek alternate routes to avoid the construction work. It'll all get started at 5 a.m. and run until 5 p.m. Contact the Department of Public Works with any questions or concerns. We'll be sure to tune in to Barnstable This Morning, our daily 1-hour live news program each weekday morning at 7 a.m. Chief of Police Paul McDonald will join us on tomorrow's show. We'll also hear from Board of Health Chair Dr. Wayne Miller, head out to Old Barnstable Fairgrounds Golf Course and visit the Hyannis Fire Station. All right here on Channel 18 beginning at 7 a.m. tomorrow morning. For now, with Barnstable Today, I'm Sarah Colvin.